Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Age and Wealth Success and to Dr. Hank's Success and Happiness Coaching. That we are going to have just a fabulous time today to really understand what magnificent creators we are and the power of our energy and love, and meditation and thoughts and everything. And we have with us what I consider an Air Force hero. He was in the Air Force. He got into IT. He then realized that, man, this mindset, he had a mindset shift itself, and he just wants to help others to get in the best shape of their life. So he actually has a national podcast called Build the Machine. And Jordan Ashton, hey, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, Doctor. Thanks for having me, Dr. Hank. So happy to be here.
Yeah, well, it's a pleasure, man, and I love that. Like attracts like, and so I often talk about how thoughts become things because I'm a mental scientist. But I'd love to discuss with you today. Why don't we start out with how thoughts become things, and how that has really changed your life and how you realize how important thoughts are.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the things about me is I love reading. So I'm a huge reader. There's so much power in books. So I'd like to start off with a quote that really inspired me from As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. So he said,
Okay.
Man is made and unmade by himself. In the armory of thought, he forges the weapons which will destroy him. He also creates the tools with which he will build for himself heavenly mansions of joy and strength and peace. Between these two extremes are all the grades of character, and a man is their marker and their master. So when I hear that, it just hits me so hard because you just realize that there is certain life situations that make you feel certain ways, but it ultimately is the story in which that you're telling yourself about what's happening to you. And so not only that, the constant story that you're telling yourself is making you feel a certain way, but when it comes to actually manifesting things that you want in the future, you have to be thinking about those things as
Yeah.
well. My
Yeah.
podcast co-host had said to me that the mind doesn't care what you plant in it. Whatever
Right.
you plant in it, it will grow. So if you
Yeah.
grow, if you plant great thoughts and think constantly about what you want and what you desire, then that's what you're going to get. And the opposite is true as well. So
Right.
that's one of the biggest things that I think about when it comes to mind. What's been your experience with that?
Yeah, well, I love your perspective on that, and that we have 60,000 thoughts each day, and out of those 60,000, 80% of those thoughts are unwanted. In other words, they're most people will call negative thoughts. So of course, it's not what you were talking about on those thoughts about hey, what you desire, and to be able to think about that. But what's even greater than that is 95% of the thoughts that we have that they're the same thoughts we had yesterday, which means those thoughts make up our tomorrow. So you're right on. And how have you found a way to be able to think more of the thoughts of what I do want and I like and I love versus those 80% negative thoughts and then 95% the same old, thoughts? How do we improve on our thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm glad that you touched on that 95%. So I love that number because I always look at it like we have a 95% chance of being the same exact person that we were yesterday. So it is
Yeah.
really tough. Like it is really
Yeah.
tough. So I think for me, one thing that I do is I first had to get the clarity of what was actually going on, what actually is going on in my mind. And then it's just that I
Cool.
feel like after that, it's just a incremental process. You might notice yourself self-sabotaging once in that day and you didn't do that before, so that's a win. You
Yeah.
noticed yourself sabotaging yourself, and I think there's little things like setting reminders on your phone.
Mhm.
There's apps that you can download that will give you positive quotes throughout the day. I
Yeah.
have a quote, or I have a reminder that goes off my phone every hour of the day that says, "What are you thinking?" And that just makes me stop and think about what I am thinking. If I'm thinking about something that's not getting me to where I want to go, then I will shift my mindset. But I think it's just about putting things in your way, because your environment controls your thought process as well. So maybe putting some signs up, some
Yeah.
positive influencing messages for you, something that just gives you more friction to not go directly into that subconscious program that's so easy for our brains to go into.
Yeah, I love that. What app is that? Or what a couple of apps that you said, an app on positive thoughts, I think, and affirmations, and then an app that reminds you. Do you know what apps are you using?
Yeah, so I have an iPhone, so I use Siri for just the regular reminder, and you could just
Okay.
say to Siri, remind me every hour of the day to and put whatever message you want there.
Yeah,
So you can do
yeah,
that, and then also the app that I use is called the Motivation app. So it'll
okay.
be the first one that come across if you type it on the Google Play Store or on the App Store.
Yeah,
So that, and there's also like a bunch of other ones. If you just type in daily affirmations, there's tons that come up, and you can program them to see how often that you would like it to remind you and things of those
yeah.
natures. So it's really helpful. It really is.
Yeah, and it's a great point that you make, Jordan, and I like where you started. First, you have to kind of understand where you're at, and most people are so lost in their thoughts, they just think this is how I think, and this is how I am, etc. And so it's to kind of step back from there and just say, what am I thinking? Are these thoughts getting me to where I want to go or not? And I love those heavenly mansions on that quote, you had. I just love that whole thought on heavenly mansions of, happiness and love and money and peace and, all of these, wonderful things. The next thing you said is, yeah, our environment, that you're exactly right. In fact, we have been told to like face reality, and so we've been told, we think that what we're looking at is real, but really it's old thought. That it's our previous thought that created it, so it's old news, and our senses really aren't very good. In fact, I'll share with you. I'm looking right now out the window there, and you can see the world is flat. According to our sense, I'm on the 15th
Yeah.
floor overlooking beautiful woods, and the world is flat. But you and I know that the world is round, and that so. But we've been told, though, rely on our senses to figure it out. And so what I always like doing is, instead of when people say, why don't you face reality or whatever, that my response is, I don't face reality, I create it. And
Mm.
we are the creators of our own experience. So I love on how you use the environment, on the technology, if you will, on the iPhone to, have Siri remind you every hour on that, on to have these motivational quotes, pop up for you. Another thing is to just use like 3x5 cards and actually write down some inspiring thing. Like one of my 3x5 cards is easy money, easy life.
Yes.
And I love that. And, the more you think about it, yeah, easy money, easy life. Well, if you say that literally the Father does the work, if you will, that all we need to do is plant those seeds, and then the subconscious mind will go from there. The other thing I love about what you're, giving to the world and blessing the world with is this whole idea about meditation. And can you talk to us a little about that, Jordan?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's so funny when I think about when I first started meditating. I remember the very first thing that I said was, my thoughts are everywhere. I can't do it. It's not for me. It's not for me."
Yeah.
And then you, again, like we talked about before, when you have clarity on what it is and what's going on in your mind, then you realize that that's exactly what's supposed to be happening. Your brain does that. It's
Yeah.
scattered all the time. But one thing that I asked myself was, okay, if I close my eyes and I have earphones in with guided meditation, I'm closing off pretty much all stimulation for my brain. It can't focus on anything because I'm not seeing anything except for the back of my eyelids. And I still can't focus. If I am creating this environment to where I should 100% be able to focus and I
Yeah.
still can't do it, that told me, oh my goodness, you are never there. You're never there. Like when people are talking, you're in your mind, you're thinking and waiting for something for you to say. So you're never
Yeah.
really present in your actual life. You're just in your
Yeah.
mind and you're daydreaming all the time for the most part. So I think that's one thing that I learned, about meditation is it allows you to live your life more. It allows you to be there more. When people are, in arguments with their partner or something, a lot of times you're not there. You wake up in the middle of the argument and why am I this mad? How did I get this mad? But it's too late in the game there. You're going full force in it. So I think, meditation for me, I think, when you grow, you need two things. I always say, like, you need new information because your current information is making you the way that you are, and then you
Yeah.
need a way to implement that information. You're not going to be able to implement it by just reading it one time. You have to visualize it. You have to sit down with your eyes closed, and if you're terrible at communicating, well, you got to visualize yourself in that situation where you're arguing with your partner, and now you have new information. You got to visualize yourself implementing that information. And then also you got to, you can use that same process, that same technique for visualization to manifest things that you want, because like you were talking about before with the subconscious mind, it works in repetition and pictures. So
Yeah.
like when you're watching a movie, why are you crying when you're watching this movie? Why are you crying? It's fake, it's not real. Your brain thinks it's real. So if your brain thinks it's real, so if you get to the point where your visualization becomes so strong, your subconscious is going to start working on it in the background and making all these decisions for you to get you to where you want to go. And it's so simple. It's not easy. It's so simple, that I think that we don't even end up trying because it sounds almost too good to be true.
Yeah, yeah, right, right. And then you're right, you're right on whatever you're saying. If you say it's too good to be true, then you're right. And then my only thing is that if we think it's going to be hard, then it will be. And so to maybe leave that out of the equation and just say, hey, it's simple and that I can do this. And the more and more in meditation, I have found that the more often you do it, and I'm sure you found this, Jordan, that the first time wasn't very quiet, if you will.
Yeah.
But as you continue to do it, and I think one other techniques, and I love your techniques of closing your eyes, listening to guided meditations, and wanting this new, seeking for this new information, and it's all about asking. If you'll just be quiet and just ask, I want this new information. 95% of my thoughts are the same information. I want to change that. I want to change that to more of these heavenly mansions. And so tell me about heavenly mansions. And if you start asking those things, you'll start thinking these new thoughts. And then I think just the most important thing with everything that you have shared that surrounding this is our breath and how powerful our deep breath is, where breathing in, typically I recommend that 5 seconds in and breathing in all the way down to your toes, and then just relaxing, asking your mind to be quiet, and then breathing out and 5 seconds out. And if you do that just 6 times, which would be 1 minute, right? 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out, 10 seconds, 6 times, that in 1 minute, you literally can be in this beautiful place where, you're at one with all that is. And so I love that, you also specialize and help people with self-love. And can you help us understand that a little bit
Yeah,
more?
definitely. Yeah, definitely. So, I would say that our relationship with ourselves is the foundation for our relationship with everyone in the world. And it's like how you see the world is how you see yourself. Really like that quote.
Yeah.
So I think that often it gets like it ends up being like a watered down term, self love, and then when people are seeking different partners or different relationships, I know it's an annoyance when people get told, "Oh, well, you gotta foster that relationship with yourself first." But I mean, how I liken it is, you can't pour from an empty cup, right? So if you get into a relationship with somebody and you aren't in love with yourself, well, naturally the brain, it still needs that, so it's going to be asking for a lot from somebody else, and they're not going to be getting anything else in return because you don't have anything to give. So you're only going to basically hijack their love for themselves. And honestly, it's this, you're the only person that you're going to be with from the moment that you took your first breath to the moment that you're going to take your last. So if you're the only person that you're ever going to be with, it seems like a pretty reasonable idea to foster that relationship with yourself and to really love what you see. And I think the biggest thing is, for me, as a coach, and specializing with helping people get in the best shape of their life, one of the things that I will say is, when you look in the mirror, are you happy with what you see? Are you truly, do you love what you see in the mirror? And it's not about how you look. It's not about you fitting in with society standards or you having a certain type of body type. It's about how you look makes you feel. Like, how do you feel when you look in the mirror? Because every one of us deserves to walk past the mirror, look into it, and say, "Dang, you look good. You look great, man. Like, I love this. You look so good. You've been doing so much work. Like, every one of us deserves that." So I think we can't lose sight of it. We have to make sure we know how to recognize when we're having these self-deprecating thoughts. Again, when that 95% of those thoughts, how many of those 60,000 are, "I hate my body. I hate how I look. I don't love myself." We have to pick out those each time and replace them with, "I do love you. I do. I know that you don't look exactly how I'd like you to look, but we're going to get there and we're going to make steps for you to get there every day." So I think that's even a form of self-love in and of itself, is um, instead of brainwashing yourself and saying that you're satisfied with the image that you see or the person that you are, instead of brainwashing yourself that you're satisfied with it, do the work to become the person that you love.
Yeah, yeah, great. And I think there's something in there about, just loving yourself for who you are. And so a great, I have some magical sentences, if you will, that help tap into the subconscious mind. And one of them that's helpful on this topic is um, that I, I am okay. I be okay. Uh, and I am. Let's see. I'm. It's three of them, and let me grasp them. Um, that I am well, that I'm okay, and that all is well. And so when you just start, floating in with these, we don't have to be the best looking or whatever. I have fun. I loved your connotation, and when you look in the mirror, you have some fun, and that's great. I love your energy on all that. And I say, hey, I'm looking younger every day.
That's
And
right.
it's fun. And then I just start thinking I am, and it's like, hey, because it's all about what you're thinking. And so I love that. And again, these are, massive topics that I know that with your coaching that you share with people and help people with that. And how would we get a hold of you, Jordan, in order to have your coaching?
Yeah, so I am available on Facebook and Instagram. On Instagram, you can find me. My Instagram name is jash413. That's JAYASH 413, and you can send me a
Okay.
message on there. And you could also reach me on Facebook, Jordan Ashton. So yeah, you can find me on there. And then also I have the podcast. It's Build the Machine, and it's available on all platforms.
Yeah, I love that. Build the machine. So I would suggest everybody check that out. Build the machine, and because it's a great one, and you're attracting wonderful people that can, really uplift us and enlighten us, just as you are uplifting and enlightening us. I wanted to also ask about. You got into the feeling now, and you were talking about the feeling. And can you help us a little on feelings and the power of those?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think feelings are one of our superpowers. I think it will tell us how we feel, will tell us what we understand about a particular scenario. If we're in a situation and it makes us feel insecure, what a blessing, because then we're, oh, that's something that I need to work on. If you are, say, if you're insecure about um, the way that you eat, and you want to be better about the way that you eat, well, it's not that when you're in a group of people that you get those people to be sensitive to your insecurity, because that's what keeps the insecurity alive.
Yeah,
You notice you're feeling, and then you go, oh, why do I feel this way? Oh, it's because I'm insecure. I need to fix that. How do I fix that? Because if I don't fix it, I'm inherently planning on feeling this way in the future every
yeah,
single time this topic gets brought up.
correct.
So I think that that's one of the biggest things that I've learned is my insecurities are a signal. It's like, Jordan, you need to work on this. Put it right in front of your face. Like, Jordan, you need to work on this, bro. This is something that's not making you feel good, and we can't live this way. We can't plan to fail in the future.
Yeah.
So I actually have a question for you, Doc. So I know
Sure.
for me, I know that in your experience, your wealth of experience that you've had thus far, I know
Yeah.
you've had to have come across people that have looked at you and said, well, Dr. Hank, well, this is just you though. Like, you're special, you're unique. You can do all
Correct.
these things because you have that ability. You're born with it. What do you
Right.
say to those people that think that they can't do it, and they think that you are some kind of special individual that's capable of
Yeah.
something that they're not?
Well, Jordan, it's a great, great question. And yes, you're right. I have a lot of people that will, and not necessarily even share with me, but will share with other people. Oh, he is, smarter, or, he's lucky, or he's white, or, whatever, that they say. And the fact is that all of us have been built, blessed with this ability to be able to create. We are all the creators of our own experience. And so, one easy step to take to see on how what a magnificent creator you are, and it goes back to my question to you about these feelings, is that if each one of us will every day, and maybe put on index cards, maybe have a reminder every hour on that, today I want to feel good. Because just as Jordan has shared here, that that our emotions are actually our communication with our higher power, if you will. And you're either thinking about this the way I'm not, our higher power, or you are thinking about it. So instead of thinking about, oh, I got to fix this, the way that I like to do, because I don't think we're broke, okay, that I like to do is like when I get that feeling of insecurity. And by the way, most people are most insecure, and their greatest fear in America is public speaking. And the whole reason why that is because we were told when we were young, don't you dare talk to strangers.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do? Give us candy, but they were thinking and giving us the emotion of, oh, they're gonna do something that, one in a billion happens to some, unfortunate situation. But they have, implanted that, so they think they're helping us, but they actually scared the hell out of all of us.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, I don't want to talk to strangers. So everybody, but when you start thinking about it, every person that you have met was originally a stranger. And so to realize that actually strangers are just great, like Jordan and I have met recently, and we're really dear friends now.
Yeah.
And so it's like we're, almost like brothers, and so it's like, oh, how does that happen? So it's not about gee, I have this talent, or I'm smarter, or I'm this color. You don't want, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with understanding for every one of us that we are these magnificent, I like to call co-creators. We do the asking and then it's brought to us. We attract it to us. And again, to just be in this place of, I want to feel good, because if you feel good, your thoughts will literally be directed to the wanted way to think about any subject, because any subject under the sun, any particle in the whole universe has either the wanted in it or the unwanted. And so instead of us focusing anything about the unwanted, you'll just get more of it. Whatever I focus my attention on grows. So why do that? So what you do is, and I love Christ's quote on this, is turn the other cheek. So when I brush up against contrast, the things that I don't want, I don't put any energy into it, because it's all about this energy that you mentioned, Jordan, that I don't put any, and I just say, this is what I don't want. And then I turn the other cheek and I ask, what do I want? And that is, hey, I want to be confident. I want to feel good. I want to have fun. I want to play more. I want to have a long, happy, healthy, wealthy life. And it just goes on and on and on. And there's no end to the wanted, but there's also no end to the unwanted. So it's all up to us, folks. We are literally the creators of our own experience, and for us to be able to think as we want. So did that answer your question, Jordan?
Yes, that was a beautiful answer. It was. And while you were talking, what I was thinking of was something that I heard in psycho-cybernetics, where it said, don't blame the creator because you don't know how to use his creation. So you don't, like I joked about it with my podcast co-host Aaron, and I said on one of our episodes, I'm like, dude, we didn't know how to do anything when we came out of the womb. We didn't even know how to not go to the bathroom on ourselves. So we definitely need to learn how to think too. We have to learn how to think. If we don't even know how to do something as simple as going to the bathroom, we definitely got to put into work to do that. So it's also interesting because you can always examine your beliefs, because I feel like your beliefs and actions always have to be aligned. So for example, like if somebody considers themselves a follower of Christ, well, in the Bible, it says through Christ, I can do all things. So if you don't believe you can do all things, you don't quite fully believe in Christ yet, because you're not fully connected to that power that you have within you. So whenever you have a belief that you say, but your actions don't align with that belief, you're going to have a bad time. And it's basically, in that scenario, would be that you believe in the creator, but you don't believe in his creation, which is you. You are his creation. So believing in yourself is believing in God. So I think that's one of the another beauty of it is you can always examine your beliefs and see if you actually are practicing what you believe. Because whenever you don't practice what you believe and you're saying one thing and you're doing another thing, you're doomed. You're going to have a bad time. Like you're going to have a bad time every single time. So I think, that's the biggest thing that I'm always about empowering people with what they already have. They already have this force within them that they can tap into. And I've experienced that myself. I know you've experienced it, and I've seen tons of other people experience it. So being able to show other people like the power that they have within them is one of the most gratifying feelings that any human being can ever feel. So I think we all owe it to ourselves to discover that power so we can share that power with all of those around us.
Amen, brother. I love it all, and you bet. A couple of comments on that. When we were born, though, that what we did have that is absolutely perfect is that we understood how this whole idea about vibration, if you will, and this energy. So when you think about it, when the new baby comes home, who is running the show? That new baby doesn't have to do anything, just goes wah and gets the diaper change and gets fed and, whatever. And so it's like, hey, they're running the show. So they understand vibration. And on the other side of that, as far as they get what they want, even though they don't know the tactical things on how to go to the bathroom or whatever, that they actually get their needs met, if you will, because of this vibration. But the other thing is that they can read the vibration of everything, everyone around them. And so I get a kick out of, like, I had, I was at a party a couple months ago, and a lady came up to me and said, "Now, listen, I don't want you to tell the kids at all, but, my husband and I don't get along well at all." And I said, your kids already know, even though you're in another room or, outside the house and you're arguing, you come back, even though you're putting on that happy face, they're like, something is wrong, And so we actually all have the innate ability to be able to read everything, have everything that we want. And so even though it appears that we don't know what's going on, we actually have all the power with us to be able to do it no matter what age, whether from conception on to whatever age, that we can do it. And that's the other thing, that, Jordan, is that the beauty of this is, and I know you teach people, is that it doesn't matter where you've been. It doesn't matter where you are right now. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter anything about that. In this red hot moment right now, we each have the power to be able to feel better. And once you feel better, you'll be led to better and better feelings that will lead you to the life with those heavenly mansions.
Yes.
That's great. Well, we're almost out of time here, Jordan, but would you like to leave us with any other thoughts maybe that we didn't cover that you'd like to share with us today?
Yeah, I think the last thing that I would just like to say to everyone is that you can do literally anything that you set your mind to. And if you don't believe that you can do anything, start there. Start by finding books that will affirm your belief, because I am of the belief that if you don't believe that you can do everything, don't do anything. Because if you start doing one thing and you don't believe you can do another, you don't really believe that you can even do that one thing, and you're going to tear yourself down, and you're not going to have the juice to be able to take you through the whole thing. So start at the core of the problem, because once you get there, once you have that rock solid belief that you can do anything in this life, and you have the clarity to know how to feel good, like Dr. Hank is saying, and then your thoughts are going to follow that, and you'll be well on your way. So don't ever lose sight of the door that you can walk through to a new life. And if you don't believe it, then find somebody that's been through what you've been through, that's overcome it, and ask them how to do it.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. Yeah, walk through the door to another life. I love that, Jordan. You're a wise man, my friend, and I thank you so much for blessing all of us today. And really, talking about these things aren't taught in any, class anywhere in the world, but it's the most important thing, and it's for all of our well-beings. And I just appreciate that you're a light of the world, Jordan, and have blessed all of us with your wisdom. And again, what's the best way to get a hold of you, Jordan?
Best way to get a hold of me is at Instagram. My username is jayash413. That's JAYASH413. Send me a message and let's work together.
That's fantastic. You bet. Well, Jordan, thanks so much for everything. We appreciate it. Just love, reach out to Jordan if you want to become your greatest possibility and walk through that door to a new life. So to everybody, thank you, Jordan. Thanks for being on the show. Love you all. And know that you have the power to be, do, and have it all. Love you much. Bye-bye.